Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. In this series, we're going to be covering a buyer's guide to helping new people choose which 90 Sea-Doo two-stroke is best for them. In this episode, we will discuss different hull types for different ski riding to pick which hull is best for you. In the next episode, we will discuss engines to help you choose which engine is best for you. And then in the third episode, we will discuss what to look for when buying one of these old 90s Sea-Doo two-strokes. And then we will discuss maintenance in the fourth video of whatever ski you have of those engines. So stay tuned for this great series. I hope you enjoy it. For many professionals and longtime riders, this isn't going to be anything new for you. But if you're new to the sport, this is going to help you out a lot when choosing your ski and what to stay away from. So let's get started. First, you have to decide why you want to buy a Sea-Doo two-stroke ski, mostly from the 90s, and why you want to choose one of these over a newer four-stroke. Well, once you ride a two-stroke, you won't go back. The two-stroke have a great power band. They're really easy to work on generally. And if you stick with the card versions, they're cheaper and easier to maintain than the newer four-strokes with the fuel injections and all the rest of the issues that come along with all the electrical issues. The two-strokes are generally, some of these skis, are from 95, 96, and they're still running great. Some of them have been rebuilt due to lack of maintenance. But a two-stroke, there's just no feel like it. It's just a unique feel when you're on the water. And when you're riding a new Spark and you get passed by a 1996 XP and it's still not even wide open throttle, you're gonna wish you would have got that. Instead of getting that Spark, you would have got that XP. These XPs are great skis, so that's why I choose two-stroke over four-stroke. Now, generally they say that four-strokes will be more reliable long term. I don't know, it's all maintenance to me. There's more parts on those four-strokes. They're more expensive to replace. Two-strokes are everywhere, and there's just a huge fandom following, cult following of these old two-strokes. And plus, the curves on these babies are just sexy. They're beautiful. You don't get that with the new plastic, boxy skis. They're just plastic, boxy, and cheap, ready-to-made skis. These curves on these babies are just smooth and sexy. You can't beat that. Let's get started on the different hull styles. First of all, you need to decide whether you want a single person ski for jumping, ripping around on, doing tricks, or if you want a three-person ski for, a family ski, hauling kids, pulling kids on tubes, something that's more stable, not as tippy as a single person. Or if you want something in between, a two-person ski. So it all depends on what style of riding you want to do. I'm going to classify these as P for personal. Those are going to be the smaller skis that are real tippy. Then we will classify the two-person skis as the G Series. And then the three-person skis as the GT Series. So we have the P Series, the GS Series, and the GT Series. And these come in different hull styles and different engine styles, different engine sizes. So you need to pick which one is going to be best for you. And in this video, we're going to discuss and show you a few different hull styles of each one. So let's get into that. Now for this series, we're going to start off with the best, the X4 hulls. They started in 1995. Now the 93 and 94 XPs look a lot like this, except they're not an X4 hull. There's a difference in the bottom of the hull. The tops look the same, but the bottoms are slightly different. The X4s have trim tabs, removable trim tabs on the bottom, which I will show you in a minute. But they started in 95 with these X4s. In 95, they came with two different versions. The white and yellow with the 717 engine, and then the yellow and pink with the 800 engine. The hulls are basically the same other than the mount for the engines. We will discuss engines in the next video. But this is the 717, very, very popular ski, very reliable. Tons of them out there. Great ski for one person to ride. hit jumps, carve, do tricks and stuff with. It's very tippy, so it's very difficult to get on it with two people. So this is your one you want for a single person ski that rides like a dirt bike on water. There's another version that's called the HX, which I don't have one here available, but it's narrower and it's really even more difficult to get on. It's a they only ran for a few years, 95 to 97. And it's a very niche, unique ski, very tippy. So this would be like riding a dirt bike. The other one's kind of like riding a unicycle. That's the HX. Now with this style, the engine is underneath the seat. You have a storage compartment up front. You have nice footwells, nice hand grips. Now, of course, this one's kind of restored, so it's not all OEM original. It's got aftermarket stuff on it. But this style ski is what you want if you want a single-person ski, the X4 ski. You either get it in the 95 or the 96 with a bigger engine, and then they came in 97 to 99 with the bigger 800 engine as well. But they're great holes, great fun skis to ride for individuals. So check them out. They came in, the one you want is going to be the XP or the SPX. Those are the ones you want. They also had this style hull, very similar in an SP and an SPI. Try to stay away from those. They had the smaller engines generally. Stick with the XP and SPX. But these are great skis for a single person rider ski. You can probably pull a tube with them, maybe. I wouldn't do it myself. That's where you're going to want a two-person or a three-person, little larger ski. We'll get into those in just a minute. Now with the XP, I'll show you those trim tabs. These are the removable trim tabs right here. The 93 and 94 XPs did not have that. This also has a pump extension, about a 3-inch pump extension that sticks the pump out a little longer. And that was only available on the 95s. So as you can see, it's a very small base ski. It's about 8.5 feet long or so. And it is very tippy. Now this here is a 96 XP. It's all yellow with the 800 engine. Very nice. I've added an aftermarket boarding step to help me get back on it and help other people get back on it. Now this is a 95 XP 800. This is the second version of the 95. This one also has the 800. This is the prototype for this one. It had a hump seat and a single gauge hood with no mirrors. And I've also added a boarding step on it. Of course, this one's not got the stock engine. This has a 951 swapped in, but it came stock with the 800 engine. So in 95, this was the prototype, and in 96, they changed it to this. They removed the pump extension. They went with a flat seat and went with a 3-gauge hood with mirrors. And I will give you a walk around of that. We have a 3-gauge hood with mirrors, the same as the 95, the white and yellow one. So they kept that for the 96, but the 95 Limited had the single gauge. Nice, smooth, clean single gauge. A lot of racers like the single gauge. We have aftermarket sponsons on these. Again, some of the older ones don't have sponsons at all. And we've got aftermarket trim tabs. These are the trim tabs I told you can be removed, and you can put on aftermarket ones. So we have adjustable sponsons and aftermarket trim tabs. So again, 95, 96. Basically the same hull, except you can notice the difference with the 95. It has half of the bottom is pink. I will show up a picture of the bottom of the ski right now. So these skis are pretty much the same hull, just slightly different with the hoods, but they ride about the same. So these are the skis you want for a single person rider ski. Now in 1997, they changed the XP. The XP got an updated hull. The SPX kept the old style X4 hull, but the 97 to 04 got this style hull. Some people call it the hourglass hull or the parabolic hull. And that's because instead of having the engine underneath the seat, the engine sits up front. Having the engine set up front helps keep the front down, which can be good for racing, but it also helps you get more water in the engine bay. So the engine is more susceptible to water damage, water ingestion. So again, this is a very niche, limited customer-based ski. It's also very, very tippy. This one's got a shock suspension. In 97, they kept the 800, so I would advise stay away from the 97, because 97 they kept the 800 engine, but then in 98 they switched to the bigger engine. So the 97 is kind of a one-year wonder. I would stay away from the 97. Try to go with a 99 above. 98 was also kind of a one-year wonder for the pump. They made changes in the pump after 98. So 99 and up is kind of where I would stick. But these are very fun hulls. They're kind of top heavy. They're a little way more tippy, I think, than the X4s, but they ride way differently. Personally, I prefer the X4s, but this 04 I had to get because I love the red and black sexy colors. We will discuss engines in the next video, of course, but the 951 in this engine is a DI versus a carb. I prefer carbs myself. Try to stick with carb machines. The DI machines are troublesome, to say the very least. I've got aftermarket seat covers on this one and grips and other stuff. I'll give you a walk around on this one so you can see it all around. This hood opens up. This hood opens up like this. Makes it a pain to get to when you're on the water. And you have the engine right up front. Having the engine up front has its positives and negatives. It's easy to get to the oil pump and other parts. But again, it is more prone to water ingestion for when you're jumping and doing a lot of jumping and wave splashing, because you can get water splashing up here because it is front heavy. But it is a very, very sexy machine. So I would try this style out and try the X4 style out and see what you like best. Personally, I really love the X4s. They're the best ones to have. Then back here we have the access hole for the battery, drive shaft, and trim unit. So that's a basic, quick walkthrough of the single person skis with the X4s and the parabolic holes. So again, if you're wanting a dirt bike on water, these are the kind of the ski holes you want to get. The next video, you can decide which engine you want, whether the 717 or 787 or the 951. We will go through that in the next video. Now let's jump over to our three-person ski, the GT Series. Now this is the first one of the GT Series. This is a 96 GTI. This hull style started in 92 or 93, I believe, and you want to stick with a 96 GTI and above. They came in a GTS, GTI, and a GTX. The GTX normally had the bigger engine. The GTI and GTS were kind of the lower, cheaper ones. with the less options and or smaller engines. This is the GTI with the 717 engine. I really like it. It's good and reliable. Now this whole style only came in several different engines. It came in with a 587, 657, and 717. So those three engines were available in this hull. So I would try to find a 96 GTI with a 717. That's your go-to. I actually have got 4 of these in my yard right now. 2 of them that are restored. This is my personal one. I got another one up for sale, and I got 2 more being restored. So this is a great overall ski. The good thing about it is all the years they made this hull style up to, I think it was 92 and 93 up to about 99. All the hoods and other body parts and seats are all interchangeable. Of course, they had different engines, but a lot of them were very much the same with a lot of interchangeable parts. So that's very good to get. So if you get a 657 GTX of 1995 657 GTX, a lot of the parts are interchangeable between the different ones. So that's a lot of parts available for these old 2-strokes. Now in 1996, the GTX got a larger hull while the 96 kept this hull. And then in 97, the GTI got the larger hull as well. I will show you that hull in just a second. It's a little bit bigger hull, and that's when they offered the bigger engines, the 800 and 951 engines. So again, you got the GTS, GTI, and GTX with different engines. Now this is a 2001 GTX. It's a newer hull style that was an upgrade from the previous one. And this hull style ran from basically 96 to 01, 02, I think. It had several different engines available in it. 787, 717, and the 951. So all 3 of those engines were available in this hull style. It's a good 3-seater ski for pulling your kids and maybe tubing or skiing, especially if you get the one with the bigger engine. But these skis you want if you go on a family cruising ski. Both of these older hull styles, the 3-seaters, are great family cruising skis. So depends on what style you want. These are a little bit bigger than the 96 GTI I just showed you. I will show you a 99 GTI in just a minute. So you can see the difference between this hull style and that hull style. This one's still got smooth corners and stuff, but doesn't have all the nicer curves and upgraded design that this one has. It's also got a 2-piece seat. Both of these come off for easy access, as versus this one, just this front one comes off. There's no access underneath that front one. So quite a difference between these two. This one also has an aftermarket boarding steps the previous owner put on it. Like I said, it's just a lot bigger. And these are more stable as well, as versus these are, which are really, really tippy. And I do have another 96 GTI up here for sale. Like I said, it is very popular. It is a very popular hull style. Then I have 2 more 95 800 here project skis that are very decent skis. They're all covered up. So if you're looking for a larger 3-seater ski for a family, for cruising, maybe pulling a tube, check out the GT series. GTS, GTI, and GTX. There's also the X Limited, which only had the bigger engine as well. But generally the GTI and GTS had the smaller engine with the less features. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick walk around on these 3-seaters. I do not have a 2-seater available. The 2-seaters, known as the GS series, came in just like the GTI series, the GT series. They came in GS, GSI, and GSX and GSX Limited. They're great two-person skis. Those hulls basically remain the same from like 95, 96 when they were introduced to about 2001, 2002 when they were discontinued. The differences in those were some of the options. So the GS series and some of the other cheaper ones didn't have mirrors, but the bodies pretty much stayed the same. The hoods and everything pretty much stayed the same. Those are also available in different engines, 717, 787, and 951. We will discuss those more in the next video. So if you're looking for a two-person ski, check out the GS series. The GS series is kind of a happy medium between the one-person skis and the three-person skis. They're still very fun to ride by yourself and rip around on, but they're stable enough for two people. So check those out if that's kind of what you're looking for. They're very good skis, and hope you can choose between whether you want a single-person ski, a two-person ski, or a three-person ski. All these hulls have their advantages and disadvantages, so just kind of know which hull style is going to best fit your riding. Because once you get it, you don't like it, or it doesn't fit all your needs, you're going to want to sell it, or you're going to want to add to your collection. And you end up like me with tons of skis for different types of riding, whether you're riding with yourself or riding with your family. So for your first ski, choose wisely on what type of ski you want to invest your money into. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. In the next video, we will discuss engines. So stay tuned for that video. Peace out.